Well, hello, everyone. Looks like we are streaming live to Facebook. Welcome to another live stream here on the Facebook Professionals group.
At least we didn't do it yesterday.
Evening, and we're doing our thing. What's going on, guys? You look pretty good out there.
Hi, Chris. Hey, guys.
How's it going?
Good evening. How are you? Thanks for joining us again. I love it.
Yes.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, me and Bill were just talking a minute ago about just people adding where you're from, the name of your company, and what part of the country you serve, to your Facebook profile. So when we look in there, we can see that. We do a lot of networking in here. It's amazing how many times I publish a blog and people actually read that thing. It kind of blows my mind. But the people will get in touch and they'll ask me if I know anybody who I can recommend in their neck of the woods. And, one of the primary ways I have of doing that is just through the Facebook group. And I can kind of search through there and see who's where and maybe, send people in your direction. So if you go ahead and update your Facebook profile to, say where you're at, that helps a lot. And, you can even talk about the kind of work that you prefer to do. We all do shower doors, of course, but a lot of us do a lot of other things too. I know Brandon's doing a lot of wine rooms and stuff, and I know Bill does those too. Probably a lot of people do. A little bit, the glass is a little big for me in a lot of cases, man. Those wine rooms could be huge, and they usually are like floor to ceiling, and they're usually either up some stairs or down some stairs, so. But no, it's just a thought. So let us know, and feel free to post, in the Facebook group where you're at, what you do, and kind of work you're looking for. If you are looking for work, a lot of people are just looking for help.
Precisely.
Funny, I had a call from a guy. He's union and he's been out of work since April.
What?
Yeah, in San Jose area.
A glazer?
Yeah. He worked for Signature and he's been off since April. Yeah. Looking for
You
work.
say you want to move to North Carolina?
Yeah.
When you're moving to North Carolina.
Yeah.
I had a guy reach out to me from here. His name was Frank Arrington. I don't know him, but he's been on this post before. Sounds like he moves around. He was looking for a job. I told him to apply and never heard from him.
Yeah.
I just recently had two guys contact me from Northern Virginia. They worked in the Northern Virginia, Washington, D.C. area, both with significant years of experience in glazing, 24 years, one occasion, 30 in the other. And it was interesting. They called within a week and a half of each other, didn't know each other. I ended up hiring one guy, but they told me that it's just such a rat race over there, traffic and the demands of some of that, the type of work, working up high. And it's not often that you had glazer with that level of experience falls in your lap. So it was refreshing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Lucky. You've been doing things right. See, it's karma.
Wow. I hope, Bill.
Karma, that's good.
And where are you located at?
We're in north central West Virginia, about an hour and a half south of
That's
Pittsburgh,
right.
Pennsylvania.
That's right. Sorry, I should remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a guy from DC that came in and he actually worked for us for about a year and a half. And the struggle was just personality from the DC more metro area coming into Western North Carolina. And a lot of my guys and just kind of honestly, just the upbringing history. It was a bit of a struggle he was coming from a very commercial background where we do commercial, but it's definitely not on the scale of what they're doing in the DC metro area, but he was trying to get out of that high rise, working on the same project for a year plus kind of thing. So
same story. I'd be lying if I told you I wasn't a little bit concerned about that. From one culture, that straight high-end commercial down to we do what I would term light commercial, a lot of shower doors. So it'll be interesting to see how it turns out, but so far so good.
Yeah, we were good for about 6 months, and then it didn't mesh. I'll say that. But I would say our culture and your culture in your area are probably very similar.
Yes.
And we're doing small scale commercial, and then a lot of residential. So hope it goes good for you. I mean, they're guys with a lot of knowledge. It's just trying to get them to mesh with the guys you already have in house was kind of our struggle. But hopefully it works out, because the knowledge is definitely worth it.
I appreciate that. And I may connect with you off of this to talk about some of that commercial stuff one of these days.
No, I
For
find
sure.
out, the guys that call you that are union, all they were doing was commercial work. And they don't have a clue what the shower door stuff and the changing IG units or, is. They're just, they work a shop where the fabricators build all the frames, deliver them to the job site, and they stick it in and roll vinyl. That's all they do,
Mhm.
And at one time,
There's only so much curtain wall.
Yeah, one time I was union, and I had to go up to San Jose to get certified on a lift, and they took me through the apprenticeship shop, and I asked the guy, I said, so, I threw a 6130 on the side of my truck, and we took it to the job site. Can they cut it on the side of the truck? He goes, no. They're just trained to do storefront. That's about it.
Very true.
Yeah, I started out, there as a union guy and doing high rises and curtain wall and stuff like that. And it's easy to end up getting really compartmentalized.
Yeah, that's what it is now.
Yeah, because you get good at something and your boss wants you to keep doing that. You're good at it. If you're good at putting up curtain wall and you're fast and you're accurate, why would he put you on something else? It's just common sense. And then when I went to work for myself, started dealing, directly with homeowners and stuff, there was a lot of stuff that I had not done.
Yeah.
And it was a little intimidating at first.
It's just like one of the big companies out here in WW, their initials are WW. If they had a job to do and they wanted them to stop and put an entrance door in, they said, no, we're finishing our contract and, get somebody else to do it. They won't stop, from what they're doing to change the layout, cost them money.
Yeah, I worked at Weight Watchers for quite a while myself.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about, right? WW?
Yeah.
I was with those guys for quite a while. And it was really a pretty cool operation. It's just
it is.
anything else. It depends on the guy you're working for, your immediate supervisor. If your immediate supervisor is a good guy, then you got a good job.
Yeah. But they won't stop midstream and putting up a ribbon of glass and put an entrance door in it, We'll finish the job, and if you want us to come back, we'll do it. But
yeah, absolutely. Well, for a topic today, I was thinking about just talking a little bit about the differences between working for different kinds of customers. This kind of came up towards the end of our call last week. We started talking about, working for contractors versus working for homeowners. And I guess, there are a couple of other kinds of customers you might work for. You might work with architects. You might work with designers, maybe even engineers. I don't know. But I think generally the most common, types of customers are either you're working for a general contractor or you're working directly for a homeowner. And takes different mindsets, takes different skill sets, I guess, to work for different kinds of people. I was curious what your thoughts are about that.
I can, I'll interject a couple of things. Let me go back to Billy and Mike's. We're getting guys coming in from the commercial industry. They're used to working for builders, trying to transition them into a homeowner job by wearing booties, putting blankets down, cleaning up after themselves. I tell you, that's the culture problem right there. They're used to doing commercial job where nobody cares for 20 some odd years. And to actually go into a customer's home and sweep up after themselves and be conscientious of what's on the wall, or whether they have pets that are going to run out or leave their chop saw laying where a kid could turn it on, totally different mindset. So it's just not the physical part of the job, but it's the rest of it, knowing enough not to park on their pavers. All that type of thing is really, really important. And guys that are just doing new construction, I mean, that's all brand new stuff to them.
You're right.
Those are outstanding points and spot on. I couldn't agree more. And to try to train these guys to do all those things, Bill, it's excellent points. Excellent points.
So I had a new house built a few months ago, and I came, it's pretty close to the business, so I'd stop by here a lot. And to see these subs eating their lunch and throwing the trash on the ground, and in Florida, flies love their lunch, and it just turns to maggots over time. And the supervisor's not picking it up. I was livid. So how can you disrespect somebody like that? I don't care if it's new construction or not. You're in somebody's home. But, we go out onto jobs, on new construction jobs, and we're still putting blankets down in the bathroom. We're protecting the work from the previous subs.
Oh, yeah.
And I've seen it where guys that are doing curtain walls, they don't care what the sheetrock guys did, or it's just like they want to get their job done, and it's only about them. So I would really be careful hiring these guys and sending them out alone without really giving them some good training of what you expect them to do in a customer's home. That's a big deal. And that plays right into what Chris is trying to talk about tonight, working for different customers. We talked about this maybe 2 months ago about keeping your truck up, how a lot of people follow you right out to your truck to look in it to see if you're organized, to see if, they want to get an inkling. If you treat your truck right, you're probably going to treat their house right. And that goes such a long way. And I know a lot of guys on new construction. I've taken pictures of competitors' trucks that are an absolute disaster, and we just use it in our training videos. So we're not going to be like that.
No,
This
I
is
agree.
what not to do, huh?
Well, yeah, I mean, hey, Chris, you're running your business based on life experiences, and your experiences were good things and bad things. And hopefully you're filtering the bad things out so you don't do it anymore, and you emphasize on the good things, or what you consider good and important, correct? So you had an employee, it was a bad habit, they did something they shouldn't have done. You remember that, and then you train the next person to make sure they don't do that. A guy that's on the clock doesn't need to go 75 miles an hour to get to the next job. He's not going to make any more money. He's getting paid by the hour. You got to do the speed limit. Why put you at risk?
And your number's on the side of the truck.
The company number's on the side of the truck,
Yeah,
not their number.
Yeah, your number.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I'd like to address your comment, Chris, about the different types of customers from a different aspect. And Bill, when I met you down in Atlanta there, we talked briefly. A part of my business is servicing, we call it after paint, where we do a number of things from door hardware to shelving, mirrors, and shower doors, and for new construction. And then you contrast that with the section, or the side of our business where we're dealing with private homeowners. And then you also have contractors who we have relationships with. We do more of the higher end shower doors. But what I'm trying to analyze now is the challenges with these production home builders, in the sense that everything they do is deadline driven. And given the environment now with not being able to get some shower doors, supply chain issues, this deadline driven thing, they'll schedule installs, or they'll say a shower door is ready to be measured, an opening's ready to be measured. They have inexperienced site superintendents that you run a person up there. There's no tile in the opening, it's 2x4s. So you've wasted a trip, even though you communicate on the front end with the site superintendent. Is it ready? Yeah, I believe it's ready. But then you run out of, or your shower door vendors don't have matte black, or they don't have brush bronze, whatever it might be. And they're deadline driven. Their price point tends to be lower because their mentality is we're giving you 50 shower doors in the next 2 months. And when I do the math, I do a little income statement for every job. And yeah, there's profit there, but I don't know if it's worth the headaches, to be honest with you, and the scrambling that impacts all the other phases of my business. Again, we're very diverse in what we do. So that light commercial I talked about, or, and all the other things, but you end up scrambling and moving your schedule around just to accommodate these guys. I don't know if anybody else has had similar experiences.
I think we all have that. We all have that. How many times are you in installing the shower doors on the day of closing?
Yes.
We're always the last one in.
Yeah, you're stepping over the carpet guys, the flooring guys, they just grouted the floor, or the guys are sealing the hardwood floor, paving outside, the landscapers don't let you in. It goes on and on and on. They book everybody like that. And yes, it's countrywide, it's the business.
Well, they have guys that do these, job plan or dates, everything is due. And they give it to you and they show you when you're supposed to be there. It never works out.
Never.
And try back charging them. Try back charging them.
They don't pay.
Yeah.
No.
They don't pay, and they're the ones that get their butt reamed out from their office when they see, what is this back charge, for misscheduling. All of a sudden, you're not getting calls to do any more jobs. Okay, good. Give it to my competitor and misschedule him too.
That's where I'm at, though, Bill. That's part of the analysis that I'm going through now. I don't know that it's worth it. I wonder how much more profitable I'd be, I guess, if I could probably lose a couple employees that are just, I have on staff just to do that work, not just the shower door part, but shelving, et cetera. You have to inventory a lot of the product. And I'm in this, I'm really giving it a lot of thought now and jotting some things on paper to transition away from it. I think part of it's helped me get to where I am, to the heavy glass doors and the higher end stuff. I think it's time for me to maybe cut the umbilical cord a little bit there.
So I'll tell you a story, because I was in exactly the same shoes you're in, because we did the same thing when I was still in Massachusetts. We were the biggest closet made dealer there. So we were doing the wire shelving. I was doing towel bar holders, grab bars, toilet paper holders, mailboxes, numbers on the house, medicine cabinets, all the after paint stuff that you do, the builders don't want to do, right? When we sold that business and moved to Florida, we said, that's it. Not only we're just doing shower doors, we're only doing frameless shower doors, nothing less than 3/8 glass. So that's all we're doing is 3/8, ½ inch and up, and not looking back at all, because the margins weren't there anymore from what they used to be. And I don't know if you were doing wire shelving or laminate or both.
Both.
Okay. So the wire shelving, they're knocking the hell out of you on price, because Lowe's and Home Depot are using it as a loss leader. They're selling the shelving less than you can buy it for, but they're marking up the little shrink wrap hardware, 150 times that you're buying in bulk, but it's making it look to the consumer like you're ripping them off. Mm-hmm. And so the margins aren't there. It just wasn't worth it at all. Once we got into only shower doors, that's where our life became much more stable. Mm-hmm. Especially when you get a big house and you get 3 crews scheduled to go there, and then all 3 guys can't do anything that day. They drive an hour to get to the job, and they're paving the driveway. I guess I forgot to call you.
So I got a question. So you guys that work for contractors, how many of you sign contracts with them to do the shower doors?
Well, contracts is an interesting term, because when we do a proposal and they sign it, that becomes a contract.
That's what.
It's not necessarily an AIA contract like you would get for big jobs. Yeah. We do that also for high rises.
Well, right, yeah, for something like that,
but for single family homes, especially a classic custom home builder, we'll do proposals. We'll give them the options. They check it off. They sign off on it, send it in. That's their selection sheet. Yeah. Now, as Mike was saying, we get the hardware selection it's still in the framing stage. I'll already have it out of inventory labeled for that job.
Yeah.
So I won't have that hardware disruption problem.
Yeah, so we
Unless
used
the
to do-
week before they call and change it.
Yeah, so we used to do commercial work. So we get a contract, we have to sign it. And, it's a
Yeah.
mail and envelope and it shows up and it's, 20 pages you got to go through. So then we got out of that, but then we had a couple builders and you want 2 shower doors and they send you a manila envelope full of paperwork. And we told them, no, we're not going to do it.
Yeah.
We throw it in the garbage. You want us to do it. Well, actually did 2 shower doors. And then they had 2 mirrors they wanted on the wall. Guess what? Another pile of paperwork.
Yeah.
And so now we just tell these guys, you want it done, have the homeowner call us and we'll do it with them. Because we're not going to sign any more contracts. It's a waste of our time. And so that's, I had a homeowner call us, says, we got so-and-so doing the work for us. I said, well, we don't work with them because they want a contract signed. He says, okay. You do it through me. That's what we do.
And that works fine.
We
That
gave
works
up
fine.
signing contracts. We won't do it.
Yeah.
Can I ask, it might sound like a dumb question, but to your point, Bill, do you guys have somebody, a homeowner or a builder sign for every shower door? There's a sign-off sheet for everyone. So I was in a house today, there's 5 showers, for instance. Obviously you're going to come up with a design and the hardware. Do you have them sign 5 separate designs?
Where they actually put their signature as one, but what they're doing is they're checking off selections. For instance, we'll do a drawing of the layout.
Yeah.
If it's a door and panel, for instance, then we give them the option. You want 3/8 or 1/2 inch low iron or non-low iron? Do you want the coating on it? And they got to check them off. So we give them what the base price is. So the base price I always use is 3/8 generic, clear, monolithic. If they want low iron, they check the box and we give them what their add-on cost is. They want an upgrade handle, they choose what they want. Now, many times when it's getting into the handle selections, we've already met with the homeowner. We know what they want, and we put it in there, and we put based on homeowner selection plus $75, whatever the difference in the cost is, right? If they want extra height, we put that in there. So all the different line items, and they check it off. But at the end of the 5 bathrooms, it's one signature. It's not one per bathroom.
No, I'll do a sketch for each. If there's 4 showers, I'll do a sketch for each.
Yeah.
I'll give them the price and they have to sign off on that. So I have a signed,
Well, what he's asking, Tim, those per shower, are they signing or are they signing one contract?
one quote. But
Yes.
that quote has a drawing of each shower and what hardware goes with each shower, a picture of all the hardware,
Yeah.
and they sign off on it.
Now, do you put any kind of clause in it? If you run late, we don't have to follow your schedule. If we followed your schedule and you screwed up the schedule, now you're on our time.
Now, I don't have that problem,
I can give you an exact example. I'm sitting in the middle of paperwork right now. So here's one of our proposals, multiple showers, one set price, options listed. They're going to sign the bottom of this for multiple showers on one contract sheet.
Yeah.
And that's one of our commercial builders in one of our gated communities here.
How long have you been doing work with them?
This is actually, it's a really old community, but the the community itself has created their own GC, so they can build their own houses and sell them. In one of the Cliffs communities up here, the Cliffs are a pretty high-end community up here, and they've created their own general contractor. So not very long with them, but we've been doing homes in this community for 15 years.
Yeah.
Large golf community up here. So, but our contractors that we've had a relationship with for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, if they're doing single showers in a house, a lot of times we won't contract for those because we're discussing options and pricing is not really even discussed with a lot of those contractors. We have the relationship where we're going to do the shower, the homeowner is going to pick the options, the contractor is going to take that price and mark it up, 20, 25, 30%, whatever their rate is. But our newer contractors are all going to sign a contractor proposal when we build that relationship. Homeowners are the same thing. Now we do a lot more digital sales now than we used to, so that conversation is always listed digitally where we can go back and look at it. So we use that as a form of contract. But even when we're measuring on site, we'll have the homeowner sign off on the details of our on-site salesman that they agree with not only the conversation we've already had, but the details and any things that come up during measurement on a homeowner-based sale. So it kind of varies for us depending on, again, who you're dealing with. Somebody we have a trust built with, we're gonna, up on the back end, they said I had a contractor we've dealt with for 30 years the other day who I know told me one finish on a shower. We went to put it in, found out that the bathroom had been changed, and I ate the cost of switching out the hardware, and I'm going to restock it and put it on another shower. But for him, I'm not going to. He doesn't sign a contract. He's not worried about the cost, the level of work he's doing. He's, if I'm up or down a few $100, it's not going to matter to him. So it really, for us, is based on the relationship. And we're going to be a lot more stringent on the people that we don't have a relationship with, those homeowner based and young contractors, not necessarily age wise, but relationship wise.
Yeah, see, that's perfect. And it's all about relationships. This whole business is about relationships.
Oh, yeah.
But you're dealing with guys that know you, Billy, and have been using you for years. You've got to trust. They know that you're not ripping them off and you're going to do what's right. If it's a brand new guy, you kind of have to train him your way and you have to understand his way. It's a two-way street, right? But
yep, and we're trying to get everybody eventually to that point where don't ask me what the cost is going to be, because not only is that going to be better for me, it's going to be better for you, because I'm going to give you my best rate, because you're not hounding me. I'm not having to do extra paperwork and spend extra labor and extra time messing with you. And I'm trying to get everybody to that point. But a lot of your young contractors, they don't want to build that trust and that relationship. That's the struggle I think we're finding with a lot of our newer contractors, where everybody's so busy that there's a lot of guys in the game that wouldn't be in the game, have things not be quite as busy as they are right now. And they don't want to put that trust out there. They want to quote on everything. I'm like, listen, if you're going to quote me and compare my price to 4 other shower door companies, I know I'm better, so my price is going to be higher. So if you're going strictly off of numbers, I'm probably not your guy. So you cannot waste my time, and I cannot waste your time on the front end, but I'm going to be frank with you. Volume is high enough that's where we're at. Now, I don't know what quantity you're doing of showers at this point, but that's how I've approached it for probably the last 2 or 3 years. Is I want to build that relationship with you as a contractor, but if every time you're getting a price from me, you're going, hey, I need a quote on this. Hey, I need a quote on this. Then that's not going to build that relationship. But it takes time. It takes time to get to that point. But that's the ultimate goal for us. Is we want everybody to be a call, measure, order contractor. And then we'll deal with the homeowners, in that kind of standard procedure. Here's your price, give us a deposit, we'll get a contract, we'll get it signed, and then we'll order from there. So that's the ultimate goal, but it does take time and to build that relationship.
yes.
How many get builders that, send you a set of plans on the computer and they expect you to give you a quote?
We give ranges.
Huh?
I give price ranges.
Yeah. I mean, you get them and there's no, what are you supposed to do? Put your scale up to the computer?
Do takeoffs. I mean,
huh?
I don't do takeoffs from like.
No, I used to do it for a guy.
Email me.
And he screwed me over, and that was the end of that.
Well, it'd be different if they gave you elevations. They're just giving you plan views of it, right?
Yeah, there's no
exactly. How
the shower doors are not figured.
Yeah,
they're just drawn there, and there's nothing to go on.
They give you no specs at all.
No.
Just say, yeah, here's the bathroom layout. Go ahead. They don't, especially on these notch overs where they're going up on a vanity. They're not telling you that. You're just seeing a plan view, so you have to assume it might be on a vanity or it might be adjacent to it. So is it a full panel, or do you have to notch up and go over? Are we grinding stone? You don't even know what material you're going on. It's just a drawing. So it's really not.
No, I had one contractor I did a lot of work for. He had built 8 homes. I did 6 of them, and then he decided to get somebody else to do the last 2. And I would go, he'd send me the plans. I'd go have them printed out so I can give him a quote. And And after he did that to me, I was done with him. I went, find somebody else. So he quit using me. All of a sudden, he's burned his bridges with everybody else. Now he's popped back up on my emails.
Just like Billy said, it's all relationships.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say I have several kitchen and bath houses that we do all their shower doors for, and early on the same thing. They would send me the drawings that you're describing, Bill, and tell me it was a 72-inch height and a stock door, et cetera. And I was pricing it as if it was that, and I'd go out to do the measurement, and the customer would want a 78 or an 80-inch height, and they would want a 30-some inch wide door. So when I talked to the kitchen and bath people, and they were reasonable, they're trying to get budgetary pricing. So when they send me those plans, everything I quote, I do a range like Billy says, but at the same time, if they're wanting a number, I don't do anything stock. I do, something out of plumb, taller than expected, try to cover myself a little bit. And then when you get out there and you measure that up, if you could put a stock door in and things like that, it works back to your favor. But
I would say that early on in my sales career, I was really worried about giving people numbers and varying from that number when we got to the point of doing a shower. That was something I really stressed about, and it was from my teaching, from the other guys in the industry that I learned from, where if you give a price, you have to stick to that price no matter what. Well, I learned in showers, it's such a highly custom product that when I step on site in your space, if you don't understand that price can vary, or you have options that you're choosing that can make that vary, then I'm probably not the guy for them. So like I said, I do a lot of range-based stuff now, especially because we're trying to turn pricing so much faster than we used to. I used to draw every shower, send it to 4 companies, wait for pricing, do all those kind of things. We're not in that game anymore. So I create ranges for doors and panels, ranges for corner showers that can get an idea to the customer or the contractor quickly, and then hopefully it can stay in that range. But I'm not going to stress myself with, if we get on site and the number is outside of that, that's not going to bother me at this point, because there's going to be a reason that it's outside that range. Location, a bad wall, a bad curb, some hardware that has to be added, an upgrade that the homeowner wanted that the contractor didn't know about. And if I kind of go, if that makes me lose that shower because that contractor, that homeowner says, well, you told me this price, but it went to this, I think that is probably saving me from dealing with a bigger problem on the back end.
Exactly.
And volume helps with this.
Right.
Now, if my volume were very low or we weren't busy, and I'm keeping 3 to 4 crews of shower guys busy all the time, if my volume was not high, I would probably think a little differently about that. But with volume quite high, I have to go, well, I really want every shower, but I really don't want every shower, if that makes sense. So if my range isn't good enough for them, and I haven't proven myself, I guess, enough, or our company hasn't proven ourselves enough in our area, then we may not be the one to do their shower. And I have to be okay with that and go, I know there's another one coming next, so we'll move on to that one. And that's a hard thing to do, especially coming from my early days were like, 07, 08, when we were scrounging to do every piece of work we could possibly do, and changing the mindset to what it's been for the last 6-7 years has been just, wide open, trying to get as much done as you can with what you've got. So that was a big part of it for me, was being okay with things can change because you're asking for a very high end custom product. So you have to be understanding that when I step in your space, I'm gonna do the best job I can to give you what you need, but it may be a little different than what we initially talked about, and being okay with that.
Yeah, well put. Well put. Brandon, you're kind of quiet. I haven't heard anything from you in like weeks. Man, I know that you've got a ton to contribute to this conversation.
I was just
See him
sitting
there.
back listening and enjoying it.
Well, I know you do a lot of work with not just contractors, but homeowners. So you're going back and forth doing the whole gamut of different stuff, and you've got quite a few trucks out there. So
Yeah, we're probably, I think we're a little heavier in the contracting side for custom home builders as far as retail customers, but we do definitely do them both. We get sign offs on every job, even if it's a contractor that we've been doing their work forever. They'll send us a PO. If it's a bigger contractor, some will just sign off on an email that the proposal is good to go for our records. And then every homeowner, obviously, we have sign-offs for everything, and we collect 50% deposit on all of our jobs, even our builders. We collect a 50% deposit for cash flow. So we got some builders that will give us a contract a year out before they even start building the home. They'll send us POs. There's only one builder. They'll send us hard copy POs. Everyone else is digitally, but we'll have those things sitting for a year before we do anything. So we just literally have them sit as an estimate, accept it until they're ready to go, and then we'll start the project. But
So Brandon, let me ask you this. Do you have a price escalation clause like this past year between hardware going up and glass going up? Do you have a clause in there where in the event that your materials go up, you have the right to be able to ask for the additional fee?
On the guys that have us hold out for so long, we do, but we really, the relationships we have, we don't run into that, because like a lot of the plans that we bid off of, if we're bidding off plans, it's just a budgetary number for them till it starts, and then once we walk the job, we'll give them all.
Do you mind charging it?
Yeah, exactly.
And we haven't been affected with cost increase really that much, because we buy a lot of stuff in bulk, and we've had a lot of stuff, so our numbers have stayed pretty consistent. We've gone up a little bit, but it's been pretty good for us.
Good.
yeah, the one thing that you and I have in common, Brandon, is we charge contractors the same price, right?
Right.
So they don't get a discount, from me. And I like what you once said, and I started using it. When a customer asks me to lower my price, I tell them, well, I'm giving you contractor pricing. And it's the truth, because I charge contractors full price.
And our contractors don't get a discount. I mean, they're paying essentially retail is what we're charging. But we built good relationships with them, and they pay for the quality of work that we do. So.
Right. And if they're adding on, their cut, 50%, 25%, whatever it is that they do add on, then they don't mind, if your prices are, good pricing, whatever. I call it good pricing.
Right.
It's the guys that beat you up for the big price, and then you find out that they double your price to the homeowner.
That's exactly what happens. It is the guys really that beat you up on price. They're the ones that are doubling it and beating the homeowner up for sure.
Yeah.
And usually the people that you do give a discount to are the ones the job always goes south anyways, and you always have nothing but problems on them. So that and family.
It's funny because when we're trying to do an advertising campaign just to let the homeowners know that they don't have to go with the builder upgrade. But you're treading on very thin water there, because some of these builders give you a lot of work, but you know that if their customer came to us, then our price has to go, the protocol is to the builder, right? Because that's what we should do. But then we give their price to them, and they turn around and double it to the homeowner, and then the homeowner thinks that we're stiffing them.
Yeah.
And I just got to bite the tongue, because that's just the nature of the game.
We have we do a lot of wine cellars for a wine cellar company out here, and we'll see that wine cellar come across from the builder too, because they do work with builders. So we'll see the builder have us quote out a wine cellar too. So we gotta pay attention and catch that, because obviously the wine cellar company, they probably get the best pricing out of anybody we do work for, because we do so many wine cellars. But we just got to pay attention that we're not, because I know they double our number. The wine cellar company doubles everything we give them. So it's kind of a thing, you're treading thin water right there, trying to not be that guy, why is your number so high here? And you're not trying to screw them over because they give you a lot of work, and it's a tough one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's different for different companies, right? I mean, you have to make your own decisions about how you're going to handle these intricacies. And, it's not one size fits all for sure. For me, I do such little contractor work. I mean, there's just a handful of contractors that I work with, and the vast majority of my customers are homeowners. So the contractors that I do work with do, have the love, for me, and they know what to expect. So and many times I heard, Mark talking a little bit, and Billy too, kind of talking about just kind of the, basically what it boils down to is the 80-20 rule. And is what I'm doing really profitable? Am I just spinning my wheels? Should I just give up this area of work that I've been doing, or these tasks or these jobs? Are they more trouble than they're worth? And those are things that each of us has to decide for ourselves, because each one of our shops is a little bit different. Each one of our customer bases is a little bit different, the geographical location we're in, et cetera, et cetera. But being in a group like this really kind of opens my eyes to what different people are doing, how they're approaching it, and different ways to think about it. And what works for you may work for me. It may or may not, but it's worth a try.
So here's a different twist on kind of what we were talking about with lead times. We've got a contractor that we've worked very hard with for the last 15 years. They generally give us contracts in advance when they're signing on with the homeowner, even before they break ground. So we've signed on to them. Now they call us and they say, okay, we're going to be ready for you in, I don't know, you can measure in 2 weeks. So what's your lead time? And we're honest with them. Right now we're 4 to 5 weeks out. They go, oh, no, we can't have that. So they said, well, we're going to give these 2 jobs because it's time constraint to another glass shop. So I call them back and I said, okay, so what did I do when we scheduled 6 guys to go to your house and you weren't ready, but I didn't say, that's it, we're not doing any work for you anymore. I mean, we got to work together. And it's like Billy said before, it's all relationship building. They forget real quick when they misscheduled and you wasted your time going out there. But they're the first ones to say, oh, no, I need it in 2 weeks, or I need it in 3 weeks, because that's what you used to do for the last 5 years. Say, yeah, but the world's not like it was 5 years ago. Things happen. And
So true.
So, I mean, I got guys working Saturday. Some guys even will work a Sunday on a new construction where they can just get in and not be bothered. But I don't expect my guys to do that. But if they need the money and they want to work, I'll make it available for them. So it's kind of interesting how quickly they forget the good things you do for them. The times that they change the hardware on, you don't tell them, you don't charge them, or they change the heights, or all of a sudden they want it hinged differently than they signed off on. You got to go back and flip the door. And then they try and charge you for the tile repair. Are you kidding me? You signed off on this. We did it exactly what you wanted. It's just part of the game, because I think their tail is, the project supervisor's tail is on the line. Not the guy that owns the construction company, but the job super. And he's not really doing his job right. And he's going to try and blame the subs.
You really have done everything that I'm living right now.
Oh my God.
Everything you just said is why I am reevaluating this. Revenue looks really good, but revenue is one thing. It's that bottom line, as we all know, and trying to determine your bottom line is not just you have to factor in all those days, the things that you talked about, to show up and not get paid, and the back charges, et cetera.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That whittles away at that bottom line real fast.
Well, I listened very intently when I first started on this group with Brandon and Chase in their software program. And when it does scheduling also. But the funny part is scheduling is logistically, you want to see how far away the next job is, but also are the customers able to be fit in the event you have a cancellation or a builder like that. If you have these other homeowners that can be ready on a moment's notice, we say, hey, we just had a cancellation. Can we send a crew over? And then can you put that in your software and highlight it? Like, you can quickly look at the screen, say, there's a customer here. I've got everything in stock. I've got the glass. Let's call them and see if you can get in. Because that's really valuable. That's really valuable. It's a great tool to have. So, I don't know what kind of software you guys are running, but that's a tool that you should look at it. And if you can mark it off on your schedule that these guys are flexible with their schedule, that helps a lot. It talks about what Chris is talking about, the types of customers. You got contractors, you got homeowners. It's a beautiful thing when you have homeowners available that when a builder messes up their schedule, you can still send guys to a job to get it done. Now, you may have to shuttle a truck out there with glass to the guys, or they may have to come all the way back, unload the builder glass, load the new job, and go back out. But at least you get the job done and they're not sitting around doing nothing.
Yeah, that's huge.
It is. We used to use Outlook calendars in the beginning, and there was a way of color coding them or putting these like zebra stripes around it. And that would be the code that, okay, this customer here says, all I need is a 20-minute notice and you can get in my house. Those are big. And the other things that we help learn is, Brandon, those ones that do beat you up on price, you don't always have to give away stuff without getting something in return. Say, you need a good price. Are you willing to wait an extra 2 or 3 weeks so I can fit you in? Or are you willing to give me a Google review when all is said and done and you're happy? Will you give me a review or recommend something? So there is some kind of trade-off that you can use. So you just don't have to drop your price to get a job. You can get a benefit out of it if you work with them. I think that's a good thing to remember for everybody.
A question on what you're saying, Bill, on your weekend installs or your after-hour installs. Something I've played with for a few years is, and I would like to do it, but again, I'm constantly just looking for guys, and especially guys that are willing to work anytime. But I've thought about offering like a premium installation where we do a weekend installation or an after-hours installation, and you pay a higher fee, but the homeowner is not required. They're not having to take off for work. You can work to their schedule a little better instead of, because sometimes they're taking off for work for the measure, taking off for work for the install. And I've thought about doing that as a premium option. But you have to have it's got to be really organized, obviously, to do that. So that's been our struggle with it. But I've been playing with that for a couple of years now, just to try to get more done.
Well, it works perfectly, except if that job doesn't go in for whatever reason. Now you're going to have to credit them back because they paid a premium, get it done on a Saturday. Mm-hmm. And you sent your guys on a Saturday or Sunday and it doesn't go in. Maybe the measuring guy measured it wrong, or the fab, or they chipped it, or a tile cracked. And now you got to reschedule it again. But it does work. I think over the long run, if you look at the amount of times it doesn't go in compared to the times that it does, it's worth doing.
We've thought about that a lot in the past. I've actually thought about, instead of doing something like that, a premium, that we ran offset crews, right? Because when your trucks are sitting, you're not making money. But if you can have your trucks work from noon to 8 o'clock at night at a second shift, and then you can hit those customers that are on a time crunch, or they get home at 3 o'clock and you're not doing installs that late normally, but then you can have your trucks run till 8. So like almost like a second crew come in, or something like that, or even like a part-time crew that comes in after hours from like 3 to 8 to kind of help with those customers and work on the weekends, and they're not getting time and a half or whatever. We've thought about running crews like that, but you got to get the guys you got to find the employees to do that. And right now, obviously, you can't find any employees to do anything. So
that's been my struggle. Is the guys say they want to do the extra hours, but I'm like, okay, well, you have to guarantee me you're available, 3 weekends out of the month. And they're gung ho until you book them for 3 weekends out of the month. And they're like, yeah, I don't know if I want to do this every month. So I'm like, well, I can't offer it unless I can back it up with the homeowners. Cause if I'm going to charge a couple $100 extra to come on a Saturday, and that's advertised, if I post it, then we have to guarantee we can do it. And that's been my struggle is, am I going to be the one to go put that in on a Saturday if one of my guys doesn't show up or has something come up? So And we haven't pushed on it yet, but yeah, the second shift idea, that's a great idea too, and I've played with that as well. Some of my younger guys that already work a little part-time job outside of what they do for me anyway, because they're in their early 20s, offering them the opportunity to work, a different set of the day, playing with that and playing with hours of showroom operation. Who says 8 to 5 Monday through Friday is the best time to have your showroom open? And that's just been the old school time frame that we've worked on for 60 years, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. So I've been playing with Saturday's obviously a benefit, but again, getting somebody in on every Saturday can be tough with a limited number of people. So playing with all those ideas right now, how to maximize what you're doing with what you have already, because getting more is hard right now. So I think we're all playing with that in our heads constantly of how do we get as much as possible out of what we've already got, until we can do something else.
Absolutely. One
Yeah,
of the
Billy,
things
but
to-
the truth is everybody isn't thinking like that. I mean, you think like that, so you assume everybody does. But the truth is, a lot of people are like, hey, this is how we've always done it. It ain't broke, so why fix it? And that really is like the overwhelming mentality of people in business. So when you've got the attitude of, hey, let's try something different, will this work better? Let's experiment with this. You're really out of the box. You're really in the top 1% of all people doing business, because it's really not.
There's a lot of people out there that don't like change, and fear change, right? And change is good. Updating, all that, it's good for business. And it's, as a business owner, you should be uncomfortable in business. Otherwise, you're complacent if you're comfortable. You're not growing, so you should be uncomfortable in business.
especially when your competitors are changing, you got to keep up, right?
Yeah.
And when times are changing, I mean, when you look around, you see, wow. I mean, when my suppliers start saying, hey, it's going to be a couple months before we have that piece of hardware, and you start thinking, wow, okay, I've got to really reinvent myself right now.
So out here in Carmel, California,
Yeah,
I
go
hear
ahead,
it
Tim.
everywhere.
out here in Carmel, you cannot work after 5 o'clock. You cannot work on the weekends. And if you do, your noisy neighbor will call the cops on you.
Wow.
Well, I say piss on California then, because that's ridiculous.
And I would agree with that.
How about you, Billy? That's crazy. They got the highest tax in the country, and they're actually telling you when you can work and when you cannot work.
Oh, yeah. In the
Wow.
lovely Carmel by the Sea.
Well, I hope you made enough money there that you can retire and not have to worry about that anymore.
Well, I
Right.
have houses in Carmel that I remodeled at night. I couldn't use a nail gun because I had to screw everything off. So the nosy
Yeah.
neighbor next door went, call the cops on me. So,
That's funny. That's
Yeah, and
funny.
don't step in the people poopy.
Yeah.
and in Carmel, everyone wants cell coverage, but they won't let them put up the towers on top of the phone poles.
That's why they put up those big fake trees out there, don't they? Don't they put up the big fake trees that
Well,
look
we have
like
them
the
on the
cell phone towers
hillsides,
that
but
look like
in
trees?
Carmel,
Yeah,
they're
flagpoles.
fighting Verizon and everything else. And Verizon says, hey, we can come in and do what we want. So just, you can't stop us.
So Chris, what I like about this is, we are all Glazers, but we're also business owners too. And that's where this topic is gone, is how do you run the business and structure it? Sure. Hey, whether we're glazers, sheetrockers, painters, it doesn't matter. I think every trade runs into the exact same problems that we have with scheduling, right? Flooring guys are always in our way at the end of the job, almost every one. So you have to find a way as a business owner to navigate, build relationships, have that one-on-one talk with the guy, say, hey, I've already canceled jobs twice this year. Don't do it to me again. I don't want to back charge you. It's only going to make us enemies, but we got to work together. When I call you 2 days before the job, can you walk over there and check, make sure the tile's completed and no painters and, the whole thing. They're not paving the street or laying the pavers down.
You know, what we did that really helped out with that, and you still get some here and there because they don't look, but we send out a text message,
Yeah.
not the night before, but the morning before. So like, if we're gonna do a job on Tuesday, we're sending that text message Monday morning to give them all day long to cancel if they need to give us time to reschedule something else. And that's helped out a lot. Like, it's rare that we go out on a dry run now. And we've had those hard conversations with a couple builders, like, look, you guys are killing us with these dry runs. We're gonna have to charge you at some point. And now it's got to a point where, like, if they dry run us, like, hey, I know it's our fault, just go ahead and charge us. We won't charge them, but it's got that point where they're like, hey, just send us a bill for it. We understand. So, but the text message helps a lot
does.
to give them a heads up. It just reminds them, especially over the weekend, people get busy and they think it's going to be done, and it helps out.
Yeah. That's a great idea. There's very little I really like about working for general contractors. And it's like over time I've found that to be true for myself, and that's why I just don't do a lot of them. But one thing that I really do like about working in an unoccupied residence is that you can just come and go. So, there's the flexibility of just being able to go there anytime. And so if there's a little opening in the schedule, like today, actually, I had a job like that where there's a little group of houses that I've been doing the shower doors in. And today I had a little extra free time. I had the glass, so I was just able to pop in, install a little inline enclosure, just kind of at my leisure. So that's one really cool thing about doing work for general contractors. And it's not always like that, of course, too. I mean, sometimes you have to be, even in an unoccupied place, you have to be more scheduled than that. But you've got a better chance of being really flexible in your installation time with a contractor than you do for a homeowner. That's for sure. It's interesting, this job I'm talking about, I had this one, I think there were like 8 enclosures altogether that I've done so far there. There was one where I'd gone and measured, and it was before, the toilet was put in. So I think you kind of know where I'm going with this. So anyway, on this particular job they kind of, I don't want to say nitpick, but we had a little back and forth about the design. So, they wanted to specify how high the towel bar was going to be. And, it was like there were some designers involved. So this last enclosure, when I went in to install, I could see, oh, it's not going to work. The door is going to hit the toilet. So, I contacted the contractor, let him know, hey, this isn't going to work. Now that the toilet's in there, I can see this is not going to clear. I'm going to have to reorder this glass. And it was, Starfire glass and stuff. So it's not cheap glass. But I just, I never bitch about something, when it's happening. My philosophy has always been, hey, let's fix this. And then later on, we can sort out the details, right? Right now, it's time to do the work. So I did that. And then once I was ready to go back, I contacted the contractor. I was like, hey, how would you feel about splitting the cost of the glass with me? I mean, I felt like, it's kind of both of our faults. It's like, I didn't catch it, but at the same time, they kind of specified a lot about the size of the glass. And so I felt like, we're in it together. So he didn't give me an answer yet, but I'm going to be really curious to see if he's going to be willing to do that. I mean, the glass, that's just a little enclosure. It's like $600 is like my cost on the glass. Not cheap. So how he handles this is going to say a lot to me about the kind of guy he is. This is the first project we've done together. So far it's been okay. If I have to pay for it all, it's like I can live with it. But it's gonna tell me something about the guy.
So what was wrong with the door? Was it too wide or?
Yeah, it was like 2 inches too wide. It was going to
Oh.
hit the toilet, when it swung out. So
Can't grind that off.
No.
Some guys will try though.
Yeah. There's already one of those short toilets, so it's like, but stuff like that happens. Fortunately to me, it doesn't happen very often, but
Oh,
but
yeah.
even I make mistakes.
Like I said, stuff happens.
A lot of people say, how do you put in all those showrooms? And I say, well, we all always have the glass from those jobs that they don't fit. Now we can just build a display for them, right? And use the glass.
Exactly.
I have
Chris,
so much
I mean-
glass to open another showroom.
Making lemonade, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Chris, you got to come out with a tool to trim tempered glass. That's the next thing you got to come out with.
I'm working on that.
Everybody will buy it. I promise. Everybody.
You could do a little bit to the hinges to pick up something with a sander.
Yeah, you can do a little bit until you can't do a little bit, and then you got a
Well,
mess.
I know what I can do with a sander to make, pick up maybe a 1/16. That was what you need, but
Theoretically, if you ran an tempering oven right, you can untemper a piece of glass.
That's true.
Let it anneal by itself. You got to let it cool by itself. Cut it and redo it. Nobody will do it because the cost of it's ridiculous to do all that.
they don't
It
want
can
to
be done.
Everybody hears that, right? Send your glass back to Bill,
Yeah,
and he will untemper it. And we can
Untemper it.
trim it down and get it all to fit.
We're
exactly.
having a special this month on
Save it
untempering.
over. Then you're gonna want to fill
my
in those
lifetime.
handle holes. You're gonna want to fill in those handle holes. Move them over a little bit to compensate for where you cut off on the inside.
My untempering showers. Is that what we call it?
I like
But,
that.
my lifetime, I've sanded a lot of tempered glass,
Yeah.
hinges and stuff, and they worked. I know what I can do.
Well, I have not, and I am not going to. So just
You're
throwing
not?
that out there.
You should.
A little trick, speaking of hinges, a little trick on a pivot hinge. You need a little bit more room on a pivot hinge. You can always cut the bottom plate on a pivot hinge on a chop saw.
Mm.
It brass, it cuts.
Oh yeah, I've done it all.
Say that again.
So the bottom plate of a pivot hinge.
For the bottom hinge.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Or the top hinge to the tile or whatever. You can pull the bracket off.
Right.
Screw it to a 2x4, countersink it a little bit, screw it to a 2x4, and you can rip it down on a chop saw really easy.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Then you got to lacquer it or something because the oxidation, you're taking away the coating if it's PVD or something. So you have to put another coating back on there so it doesn't patine over time.
Yeah.
Well, one time I did a 1/2-inch shower door and was supposed to have the big hinges. I put the small cutouts in.
Oh, that's
Big ass panel and a door. And I
Yeah, if
sanded
you're
that
using
sucker
Bill's
out,
hinges, you wouldn't have to worry about that.
and
There
I
you go, Chris.
and I
Right?
sanded their glass to glass hinges, and I sanded those things out, and that was 20 years ago. And
You made that
those-
work?
I did.
You should get like a trophy for that.
Like I said, I know what I can do on sanding tempered glass.
We've got a folder of pictures of stuff that we've gone in, like when we do removals for things that people have done in the field to make it work.
Yeah.
I mean, you take off a hinge plate, and you see the body of the hinge all cut just to try and make it fit into that
Yeah.
thing.
No, I've taken the glass and I've put notches in it so the glass will move closer to the wall.
Sure.
With the backing plates and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
And
all that stuff.
you
Make
can
it
do a
work,
lot.
man.
I mean, if you did it to an 1/8-inch piece of glass, it would blow up.
Oh yeah, of
But
course.
if you got a 3/8 piece of glass, there's things you can do.
Rule of thumb is half the thickness of the glass you can
Yep.
go into it. So,
Yeah.
That's what I've
Rule
always
of thumb. If you wear polarized sunglasses, you can almost see where the tempering stops.
Well, you can see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've done
All right,
some
you
that-
guys. So what's going
may
to
have
be the
blown up.
topic? What's going to be the topic for next week?
Somebody got a good topic? Yeah, right. How to untemper it?
Untempering
untemper.
glass. Hey
Hey, you
man,
got
good
your autoclave
call.
up and running?
What's that?
Well, Bill, you got your autoclave up and running?
It's not running yet. No,
Oh, damn.
they're still working on it. It's going to take probably 3 more weeks. All the techs are here from Ventura, California. They're all here getting it all ready. We'll be getting it going soon, though.
I got a
Joe's-
list I can send to you. You can give me a price on.
Fire away. I've got guys that actually do that pricing, so that's okay. We actually have to quote it before we do jobs.
No, I got a job here. What, 54 by 120, 110, 2 of those. 77 by 72, and then there's a bunch of rake cuts.
All Lammy,
All Lamy with Century Glass,
Century Glass, quarter over quarter.
quarter over
Century
quarter,
Glass.
solar band 70.
You need after polish?
No polish. It's all
Oh, it's all inside? Oh, you don't
it's
need
all,
any
you know,
post
encapsulated.
polish? Sounds like an easy job.
Yeah, it is.
What's
Like this.
what's your lead time when you order that?
It's about 2 weeks, I think.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah.
And around here, they've been going 8 to 10 weeks.
As
to
long
get-
as they have the Century Glass available.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, that's what they say.
So what do you want to do next week, Chris?
I don't know. I'll have to think about it.
All
You know,
right.
as a newbie to this group, I've really, I mean, I've got a million questions, but I try to stay on topic. But these discussions about how you all run your business and some of the war stories have really been beneficial. Tonight, I've got a page of notes here of things that you guys have shared. So I sincerely appreciate the gems of wisdom that I get to take away from this. But wouldn't hurt my feelings if you continue to talk about some of these business management type things.
I take notes too, man.
Oh, yeah.
Believe me.
I take mental notes.
Awesome.
I'm getting old.
Well,
but I
you're a
still got it
mental
going.
giant, though.
Still got it going. If I take notes, I'll lose it. So at least
Yeah,
it stays here.
Exactly. It goes in your ear, down your arm, out onto the paper, and you lose it forever.
Hey, let's use Chris's platform to post stuff this week. If you want something that you want to talk about, put it on there. Let's see if we can't work it in.
Yeah, post some ideas, man. I'll be watching that, and then we'll come up with an idea for next week. We always
Right.
do okay. You guys are.
I texted Chris on Monday and he says, I haven't had time to think about it yet. Look at he came up with something perfect.
So seat of the pants, buddy. Seat of the pants. All right, guys. Hey, good call, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Good
Thank
night.
you. We'll see you again next Wednesday.